All right, so now we have against
We have-
Spassky against
Filip.
Filip.
Filip was one of the best Czech players in that period. Bachmann, Hort, and Filip were their, golden trio in that time, for Czechoslovakia. And it's almost the same variation. You remember
Yeah.
the same that he played against Smyslov with some small differences. Okay, he took, and now d6 and e3 and knight d7, and here he played bishop d3
Yeah.
instead of bishop b5. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, bishop d3 castle, knight g2, knight e5, castle. All right. So he took in c3, knight g6. Again, if he took in d3, is a little bit unpleasant for black because he is pinned, if you don't want to be pinned, you have to play g5. And only with the bishop on board and different color bishops is a little bit dangerous for black, if you play like this. Okay? So now he preferred to retreat the knight and have a control over the central squares, So now it will be a question if white can break through, later on or not. If not, black can resist, has a good defensive position. Okay, knight g6, of course, he goes back to g3. And now queen e7. I mean, he prepares the defensive position, e4 and bishop d7. And all right, rook e1. He could play immediately f4, but that's another line, So, okay, rook e1, he prepares again. Rook e1, knight there. And now he doesn't give the bishop. He goes back with the bishop. Now he prepares immediately f4. So, black...
Oh, wasn't better the bishop to come here?
To f1 also, yes. But he wants to control the diagonal. Later on, we'll see. The bishop from e2 comes in the game they have. The bishop will come to h5, attacking something, you see.
Mm-hmm.
Is a little bit more active in e2. Okay, so g5. Okay, g5, if I tell you, is more or less a little bit risky. But here, nothing happens for the moment, you see. He wants to control the square f4, you see. If he doesn't play immediately g5, then after f4, white is clearly better. So, okay, rook f1, preparing again to push f4, and then taking with the rook, if possible, in f4. All right, king f7, he tries to organize the defense. All right, queen d2, and now knight g8. Well, this is unpleasant. Okay, black tries to resist, but the knight in g8 is, more or less too defensive, let's say, The position is not the best, let's say. It's a little bit unpleasant for black. Okay. All right. So f4 is clear that white is better, but the problem is if it's enough or not, here already. Okay, he took, rook takes, and a6, preparing the counterplay on the other side. So now a4, he played a4. Doesn't give the idea b5 immediately, so f6. Well, the hope now is to stay with the piece in e5. If he can have a strong position with the knight or another piece in e5, it's more or less okay for black.
For black.
He can resist. So rook f1, rook f7. The problem is that the position is passive for black, He doesn't have any counterplay. This is the difference, you see. Now you see, he could play bishop h5. Now again, the rook has to go there, in g7. And now, after very strong move a5, black has no counterplay. Only white can play in that position, you see. So he can prepare again, see. Okay, rook f8, all right, black has to wait. Now, queen d1, he prepares the knight d1, e3, coming later to f5, control the squares on the king's side, It's very easy to play for white, in very pleasant position, you see. So rook there, bishop back, of course. So, knight g6, okay. Now g6, rook there, and then back, of course, back, what to do? Knight e3, he prepares again. Now he prepares the idea from the game, you see. Rook g7, all right. And right here, white has time to do something immediately. And now, exactly here, has time to take in e5 in good conditions. Why? Because with to take back in e5 is not possible. He loses the rook,
Yeah.
If he takes with the queen, white has time to come immediately with knight c4, winning, you see. I mean, takes in e5, he took in e5, no?
Okay.
He took, and he has to take with d pawn, because if he takes with the queen, knight c4, queen e7, queen f4, and wins, you see. Queen e7 and queen f4, and wins the pawn from d6, and it's finished. f4, queen f4, yeah. Attacks twice in d6, wins. Yeah. So therefore, he has to take with the pawn. This is unpleasant to take with the pawn, because now white, again, has a tempo, decisive tempo, d6. And that is winning already for white. And now we'll see how white can win a winning position. It's very beautiful, but he must win. All right. So bishop c4, very logical, Everything, every piece is on the best position, Bishop c6, the only counterplay, and now knight f5. Look at this. Black is completely lost now. What can he do? Rook g6 now. No, rook g5. Now h4. No, h4. Rook back. And exactly here, he has time to take with tempo in g8. You see? Now he has to take only with the other rook, because if he takes with the king, he loses with tempo
for a check
the
here.
pawn from h6, or even check in e7, and he loses the rook.
Yeah.
So he has to play like this. And now the final combination, knight e7. Now black has to give the exchange. If he has to give only the exchange, it's not so bad, but it's forced win for white now. You see, forced. You see. Very beautiful also. Knight takes, rook takes, and now look, h6. Now he goes back, and now he gave the queen. Well, pseudo sacrifice. Now rook takes, winning by force. Rook takes, queen takes, and now rook f8, and black resigned. Why? Because if he moves the queen, is mate on f7 without the rook. You see. Very beautiful, but very logical, everything, you see.
So he give up the queen because...
Well, it's finished, of course, here. Queen takes, he takes. If he doesn't take in g2 immediately, he's mate in h6. Queen takes h6 mate, later on. So everything is fair. Now rook f8 resigns. You have to move the queen. If you give the queen there, rook and pawn, free pawn is completely winning.
Yeah.
If not, we have the game from, the way they played. If he moves, for instance, queen g5, let's say,
Yes.
Queen g5, rook f1, f7, mate. No, mate. You have to move the queen again to g7. Check now.
Check like
Check,
that.
and then the only move is queen g7, and now he doesn't take immediately. No, he plays first d7.
d7?
d7, and now the next move he takes the queen and makes queen again. Okay.
Yeah.
Very beautiful, but very logical, you see. In a few moves, In a few moves. Why? Because it was a very big difference, the way they had, the position of every piece. White has every piece there where it was necessary. Concentrating on the center, on the king side, everywhere, big initiative, and it was very easy. By this level, of course. Very beautiful game again.
Good to see in action.
Good lesson.
Yes.
Good lesson, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Gheorghiu.